Good day. I'm Milind Sawant. I have done my Masters in Mathematics with specialization in computer science. I've been working in the IT industry for the last 12 years, and at a point in time I felt that it's time to move on to a more wider area, and that is why I chose information security to be the next step in evolution in my career. And I'm here at Prism for the 1-year full-time course conducted by MIL Academy, and today I'm going to present the topic on SSAE 16, which is the new standard replacing SAS 70, and this is what is required by most of the service organizations. SSAE is basically the statement on standards for attestation engagements. Okay, it is a new attest standard put forth by ASB, which is the Auditing Standards Board of AICPA, which is American Institute of Certified Public Accountants. Basically represents the adoption of globally accepted accounting principles. And prior to June 15, 2011, SAS 70 was the predominant standard for auditing service organizations. But from June 15, 2011, SSAE 16 will be the new standard for reporting the controls of service organizations, basically replacing SAS 70, which is a statement on auditing standards. Okay. Now, a quick definition of service organization. What is service organization? It is basically an organization which is providing services to user entities, for which these services are likely to be relevant to this entity's internal control for financial reporting. And user entity is basically an entity which is using the services of a service organization. So, some examples of service organizations. Okay. We have application service providers, we have BPO services, we have data center operations, we have insurance service providers, we have IT service providers, and we have bank trust departments. Right. So, in the recent news, we have some organizations which have already made a move from SAS 70 to SSAE 16. So, here you see a couple of examples. You have Blackline Systems, you have Service, which have done the move from SAS 70 to SSAE 16, but always saying that they are now compliant with the new standard, and they provide the required controls. Okay. Now a quick brief on SAS 70, because obviously SSAE 16 it tries to overcome the limitations of SAS 70. So this gives a brief of what SAS 70 was. SAS 70 again, it was basically an auditing standard, again from AICPA, and it allowed some organizations to audit their own controls, providing the user organization with assurance that the controls related to financial reporting are properly designed and tested. Okay. So the SAS 70 allows service organizations to communicate about their controls, okay, through a service auditor's report. Right. So, few examples of Indian BPO companies who are SAS compliant, and going forward they will have to get themselves compliant with SSAE 16. So here we have EXL Services, we have First Source, which is from ICSCA, then we have Infosys BPO. Right. So SAS 70 allowed the service auditor to provide two reports, okay, type 1 and type 2 reports. So this slide basically gives what was in type 1 report and what was in type 2 report. Okay. Type 1 report basically, in type 1 report, a service auditor basically provided his opinion on the service organization's description of controls and whether the controls were appropriate for the service organization. Okay. So it was basically an opinion on the appropriateness of the controls, but type 2 goes forward. It includes what type 1 report contained, but also it contains the testing of the controls, okay, for a given time frame. So at least for 6 months time frame. So here we see like the report and the description controls are included in both the reports, but the testing of the controls themselves is optional in type 1 report, but that is included in type 2 report. Okay, and service organization on its own discretion can provide more information, which is optional in both the reports. So quickly, what are the advantages of SAS report? Okay, service organization can use it for their own marketing. So when a service organization is compliant with SAS, okay, it can proclaim that its controls are appropriate for the user organization. So it gives it a competitive advantage. So first point, it differentiates the service organization from its peers by demonstrating that the controls it has are effectively designed, and it complies with the required control activities. Okay. Now again, without a current service audit report, the multiple service user organizations will ask the service organization to assist or to work during their auditing. Okay, so the service organization will have to have like participate in multiple user organizations auditing. Okay, and lastly, right. So basically, this report gives all the user organizations and their auditors, okay, access to all the information required, and in many cases will satisfy the user auditor's requirements. Fine. So this slide provides the perspective from the Indian context. So Indian BPO companies basically today, like large BPO companies are players which provide services to global organizations. So it is very imperative for these companies to have a strong framework of internal controls and transparent with their clients. Okay. So, and obviously, as I said in the earlier slide, okay, it provides the organization with a competitive edge. So it receives significant value from having a SAS 70 engagement performed. Okay, and from the perspective of the Indian audit firms, okay, a new area of work is available for the Indian auditors. Okay, they can audit service organizations for SAS 70 compliance, and the management of US companies, okay, can rely on this SAS 70 reports which are provided by Indian auditors, because Indian audit is quite well renowned globally. Fine. So where does it all start basically? Why was SAS 70 required in the first place? Okay, so the SOX, which is Sarbanes-Oxley Act, okay, which all publicly traded companies in US have to comply with. Okay, so these companies, when they use service organizations, they have to ensure that even the service organizations have the required controls in place so that their financial reporting is ensured to be correct and well placed. So that is where SAS 70 really got recognition, and the relationship between SOX and SAS begins with section 404 of SOX. So because of SOX, okay, management must report annually on its effectiveness of internal controls, and more importantly, its financial reporting process. So again, now as I said, a large number of publicly traded companies in the US, okay, outsource a host of critical services, and these providers, they call as service organizations, okay, are considered an integral component for purposes of financial reporting. Now, so basically it all started with SOX. Basically it makes SAS compliance more important to the process of reporting on effective internal controls at service organizations. So basically what this public traded company will look for in a service organization is a SAS 70 Type 2 report, which provides needed assurance on service organizations that are conducting outsourcing services for publicly traded companies. Okay, now what are the due diligence which service organizations must make when talking to customer organizations? Okay, so basically they have to first clearly understand the requirements and how SAS 70 applies to their user organizations. So they have to ask these questions to user organizations so that they are very clear on what kind of compliance they should have on SAS 70. These are few of the questions. Okay, so they have to be very clear on the intentions regarding SAS 70 that user organizations have. Okay, they should be very clear on the scope, timeline, the fiscal year of reporting. Okay, and the requirements as per SOX. Okay, again the service organization in turn, okay, could outsource some part of the services to other companies which are called as sub-service organizations. So they have to be make sure that even these sub-service organizations are compliant with SAS 70 and going forward with SSA 16. Right. So these are issues which were in SAS 70 which led to SSA 16 to be devised and designed. Okay. So first of all, SAS 70 is outdated in certain aspects, okay, and may not really cater to the requirements of section 404. Okay, type 2 report doesn't always guarantee that airtight compliance with SOX. Okay, and the time of audit may be out of sync with the client's reporting period. And lastly is like the service organization is required to only inform about its failures, okay, but not the context or scope of the assessment within which these failures apply. So they may have 2 failures, but they could have like they could be only assessing a small part, and within that 2 failures could be large enough. Okay, so that is not very clear when you deal with SAS 70. Now, a quick brief on ISAE 3402. ISAE is basically the international standard for assurance engagements. Okay, it is the international standard which applies to service organizations. So as we will see in the next slides, okay, SSA 16 tries to align itself with ISAE 3402. Okay, so basically, what is ISAE 3402? It's the international standard which addresses engagements undertaken by a professional accountant to report on the controls of a third-party organization that provides service to user entities. Basically, same thing what SAS does, but at a more SAS is very US focused, but ISAE is like it's international standard and it applies globally. Right? Okay. Again, why new student was required in the first place? Basically, very important was to align with ISAE 3402. Okay, because ISAE is international standard. SAS 70 was predominantly US focused, and therefore some of the requirements which apply to the US organizations may not apply to or may not be relevant for other organizations globally. So that was a key reason. And second thing is globalization is like is really being used by multiple business process outsourcing is being used by multiple organizations worldwide. So the standard has to be more relevant to all organizations, not only US focused. And lastly, service organization versus service audit reports. SAS 70 predominantly was a auditor to auditor report. So from a service auditor to a user auditor, that was the communication level. But since the landscape of outsourcing and landscape of compliance and requirements is changing, okay, service organizations are requiring, the user organizations are requiring service organizations to provide and create report on their own controls. Fine. So this slide gives the key difference between SAS and SSA 16. Okay. First is SAS required a description of controls. Control is a very small aspect of the whole system, and SSA requires that a description of the entire system, not just the controls. Okay. Second is written statement of assertion is required by SSA 16, which is not required in SAS 70. Fine. Okay. So we are talking about description system. So basically, what is system? The system is a procedures, people, software, data, infrastructure, which is organized to achieve a specific objective. Basically, so it's an entire ecosystem of people, process, technology, which will be used to achieve the goals of the organization. Okay. And under SSA 16, the service organization description of system includes the following things. Okay. So description of service provided, description of procedures, description of the capturing and monitoring of significant events and conditions, and description of the process to create reports. Okay, so this gives the second key difference, which is the management's return assertion. Okay, So that is the most visible difference between a report under SAS 70 and a report under SSAE 16. Okay, and it's a separate component of the report. So what does the assessment communicate? Why is it so important? Basically, it provides, it ensures basically that management is responsible for the description system and the required evaluation criteria are taken care of. Okay, so basically it makes the service organization to identify the risks that threaten the achievement of the control objectives. Okay, and it provides reasonable assurance that those risks would not prevent control objectives from being achieved. So again, these are some of the prime candidates for the adoption of SSAE 16 standard. Most of the service organizations now are SAS 70 compliant. This just gives all the industries, some of the industries which are already SAS compliant and are the prime candidates for becoming SSAE 16 in the near future. So we have software as a service, which is SaaS, we have cloud computing, we have web hosting, we have third-party administrators, we have application service providers, we have internet service providers, we have credit card processing firms. Okay. So now, as standard has evolved from SAS 70 to SAS 16, what are the new responsibilities that the new standard bring on the service organizations? This is a list. Basically, they have to prepare and present a complete and accurate description system. So specify the control objectives and the state of those controls. Okay, identify the risks, design the controls, and obviously prepare and present the written assertion to accompany the description of the controls. Right? As to completeness, accuracy of the information provided. Okay, so basically the SSAE 16 applies to service organizations where some user organization has used the service organization to provide some of the services that it should have done in the first place. So it is more relevant when the user organizations is doing financial reporting, when the controls are related to financial reporting. So that is it is mainly relevant, and right. So much like SAS 70 or in standard, it is more focused on internal controls which apply to financial reporting. Okay, and wherever SSAE 16 lacks, okay, it can always fall back on ISAE 3402. The last statement states that wherever SSAE has some limitations, okay, auditors can always refer to the international standard, which is ISAE 3402, and which states that determination of whether controls at a service organization related to operations and compliance are likely to be relevant to user entities, internal control as it relates to financial reporting as a matter of professional judgment. Basically, I mean, because this makes it very flexible, because it's a matter of professional judgment. So auditor is able to be flexible, okay, in determining what controls are appropriate and what controls are not appropriate. Right? So quickly, SSAE aims to align itself with ISAE 3402, but it's not completely similar to ISAE 3402. It aligns with that, but it has got certain differences, and it has got many similarities. Basically, it helps in auditing service organizations for wherever it applies to where these organizations have to comply for their financial controls. Okay, but what are the differences? Okay, differences are mainly technical in nature. Right, in most of the cases they are same. They are similar. Okay, thank you.